Chapter 5 of Yuddhaananthara Parva, the embrace of death. The Pandavas set out for Hastinapura. They had not seen the city since 14 years ago. They were now going back to the city as rulers of the kingdom. Yudhishthira was the king, but their happiness was all destroyed because of Ashwatthama. He had avenged the killing of Duryodhana. They were all sunk in awe. This mournful procession set out towards the city. Satyaki and Krishna were the two people who took good care of them. They heard that Dhritarashtra with the women of the palace and the women of the city had proceeded towards the battlefield, and they went there to meet them. The Pandavas saw the women on the field. Their lamentations greeted them. Yudhishthira went straight to Dhritarashtra and fell at his feet. He announced himself and his brothers. Dhritarashtra embraced him without affection. He thought of the Pandavas as the causes of the deaths of his sons. He could not welcome them with affection. But he knew how to behave himself in front of others. He spoke gentle words to Yudhishthira. His heart was full of hatred for Bhima. If he had been able to, he would have burnt him with his looks. Dhritarashtra held out his arms to embrace Bhima. Bhima was proceeding towards him. Krishna stopped him with signs. Krishna hurried to the gymnasium and quickly brought the iron image of Bhima, which Duryodhana had been using for his daily practice. Krishna placed it in front of Dhritarashtra. The old king embraced it. The moment he embraced it, Dhritarashtra remembered that he had the killer of his sons in his arms. His arms now tightened about the iron figure. It went on getting tighter and tighter, and the iron image was crushed to powder because of the powerful arms of the king. Bhima was looking on with horrified eyes. The king's body was wet with his own blood, and his chest was full of blood too. The effort had made him faint. The king fell on the ground in a dead faint. Sanjaya revived him. The king realized the gravity of the crime he had committed. He was sorry. He began to wail. In my anger, I have killed Bhima. I have killed Bhima, the son of my own brother. I have killed that child. Krishna realized that all his anger and fury had abated. He came up to the king and said, I knew how angry you were with Bhima, but, my lord, this is not Bhima you have crushed to powder. Bhima is safe. I knew your anger and your strength too. So, I placed this image in front of you. It is an image of Bhima made of iron. Duryodhana had it made. I placed it in front of you. Now that your hatred is all spent on this image, it is but right that you should show your affection to the sons of your own brother. Please set your mind on righteousness and do the right thing by them. They are also unhappy about the war. Please comfort them and be a father to them at least now. Dhritarashtra was cleansed of his evil thoughts. He wanted to be good to the sons of Pandu. He said, I am now rid of all anger against the Pandavas. Please let me embrace them with real affection now. Bhima approached him. The king embraced him warmly, and then Arjuna, and then Nakula, and lastly Sahadeva. They all sighed a sigh of relief. But the worst was not over yet. They had to meet Gandhari. She had been very angry with them. She had decided to curse them. Knowing her thoughts, Vyasa hurried to her side. He said, Gandhari, my daughter, I know what is in your mind. It is not right. In your affection for your son, you are thinking sinful thoughts. Try to be forgiving. When your Duryodhana left for the battlefield, he came to take leave of you. He said, Mother, say that I will be successful. If you say it, I will certainly win the war. Say it, mother. But you said, where there is dharma, there will be victory. Gandhari, you knew that he would not win. You knew that his cause was not righteous. Now it is wrong to undo all the good you have done so far. You have been the most patient of all women. This anger of yours has to be abandoned. The Pandavas do not deserve it. Gandhari listened in silence. She said, Father, I am not angry. My mind was unhinged for a while by the death of my sons. But I am not angry with the Pandavas for fighting this war. And they did it. They did but do the right thing. It was my son who wanted war and they had to fight. I know that. What makes me angry is not that. It is something more personal. What makes me angry is the fact that Bhima drank the blood of his own brother. He has killed my Duryodhana in an unfair fight. These things have made me angry. In his love for the kingdom, Bhima has done these things to my sons. That is burning me. Hearing her words, Bhima came up to her. He was very soft and gentle in his speech, much to the amusement of Krishna. He said, Mother, I did perform an unjust act during my fight with Duryodhana. I admit it. It was not possible to kill him. To protect myself from him, I had to do it. You must forgive me for this fault of mine. There was no fighter like your son in all the three worlds. I could never have killed him in a fair fight, not even Indra. But Duryodhana was sinful. He harassed us for years, much against his wish. Yudhishthira was made to fight this war. As for my breaking his thigh, I had a reason for it. I had taken an oath long ago that I would do it. Mother, if I had done it the moment he insulted Draupadi, you would not have been angry with me. You would even have said that what I did was right. But I was stopped up by my brother. I had to wait all these years to fulfill my oath. Gandhari said, Bhima, you have praised my Duryodhana as the best fighter in all the three worlds. I will forgive you. But what about the drinking of the blood of my son Dushasana? The blood of your brother? That was a cruel thing to do. How will you explain that? Bhima said, Mother, of course it was a cruel act. I had sworn to do it in a moment of passion. I am sorely tried because of my quick temper. You must forgive this. Since I had sworn to do it, I did it. I did not swallow a single drop of my brother's blood. It did not pass beyond my lips and teeth. Radheya knew it. I had to do it because of my oath. It is an inhuman act. I know it. I ask you most humbly to forgive me these things, Mother. Gandhari was pacified by the sweet and patient words of Bhima. Krishna was trying not to smile at this new Bhima who was all apologies. Gandhari turned her angry face on Yudhishthira now. She said, Where is that king? Hearing that voice, Yudhishthira knew how angry she was with him. He came up to her with folded palms. He announced himself, Here I am, Mother, the killer of your sons. I deserve your curses since I am the cause of the destruction of the entire world. I am waiting for your curse. I deserve it. With very great effort, Gandhari reminded herself of the words of Vyasa. Gandhari reminded herself of the words of Vyasa. She had tied her eyes with a silken scarf. She turned her face away in trying to control her mounting anger. She sighed like a serpent. In the end, she succeeded in conquering herself. Righteousness won in the conflict between the love for her son and Dharma. The great Gandhari controlled herself and forgave them. When she was turning her face away, her eyes, though hidden by the scarf, happened to see the nails on the hands of Yudhishthira, who was prostrate at her feet. Her angry glance fell on the nails, and it is said that they at once assumed a blue hue and lost their glow. Such was the power of Gandhari. Seeing this, Arjuna fled from her and hid behind Krishna. Krishna laughed silently at the terror which this one woman could inspire in the heart of Arjuna, known all the world over by the name Jishnu. Krishna whispered the name into his ears and was amused to see the blush spreading over his face. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Chapter 6 of Yuddhaananthara Parva, the curse of Gandhari. Gandhari's anger had passed over their heads, even as the great Narayanastra had. She had been pacified too by their humility. She showed genuine affection and welcomed them to her arms. The Pandavas met their mother Kunti. 14 years had passed since they parted in sorrow. Kunti embraced all of them. She touched them again and again. She ran loving fingers over the scars and wounds which they had sustained during the war. She shed tears of joy at the thought that they were alive after the great war. She took the unfortunate Draupadi in her arms and tried to pacify her. Draupadi cried out, "Mother, all your grandsons are dead. Abhimanyu is dead and all my sons are gone. It is so long since you saw them last, and you will never see them again. What is the use of this victory and this kingdom? I have no children." She sobbed into the breast of Kunti, and Kunti tried to speak words of comfort to the poor women. They all followed the king and Gandhari to the battlefield. Gandhari spoke to Draupadi, "Look at me, my daughter, and comfort yourself. This is all the result of the workings of fate. It is the end of the world. Vidura prophesied this long ago, and Krishna gave due warning when he came to Hastinapura. When a man is spurred by fate, he becomes deaf and blind. This had to happen, and there is no use in grieving for the past. My dear child, do not grieve for your sons. They have reached the heavens. I am also like you. I have lost all my sons. Who is to comfort whom? The destruction of the entire race is because of me." They walked towards the battlefield. Gandhari could see it all with her mind's eye. She had been granted that boon because of her severe penance. Even from a distance, she could see the gruesome scene. She saw the wives of the warriors or their mothers falling on the dead forms of their dear ones and weeping bitter tears. Dhritarashtra was proceeding further. Gandhari spoke to Krishna. She showed him the dead forms of her sons, and she showed the women who were her daughters-in-law lamenting the deaths of their lords. The scene was heart-rending. Gandhari went to the spot where Duryodhana was lying. She fell down in a dead faint. It was terrible to behold her grief. She regained her consciousness and wept bitter tears over the form of her dead son. She smoothed his bow and tried to untangle his locks, which were matted with blood. Krishna stood by and spoke nothing. He heard her lamentations and those of the wife of Duryodhana. Duryodhana's wife was torn between the bodies of her lord and her son. Gandhari showed him all the many scenes. He was made to see Uttara, the wife of Abhimanyu, weeping over the form of her beloved lord. They had been married but 6 months and he was dead. Radheya was being mourned by his wife. Shalya's wives were all there. It was together the most horrible scene that was ever enacted. Gandhari saw all this. Suddenly Gandhari's anger flared up. She turned on Krishna. She said, "Krishna, all this is the result of your indifference. I am sure you could have averted this if you had wanted to. The anger between the Kauravas and the Pandavas could have been prevented by you. If you had been impartial to both the parties, if you had tried to, you could have prevented this annihilation. If it is true that I have performed penances, if I have any power, I will use all that to curse you for the ruin you have wrought on the house of the Kurus. I am cursing you. Because of your indifference, the Kauravas and the Pandavas were bent on destroying each other. The world was destroyed because of you. The enmity between cousins caused the destruction of the family. Even so, 36 years from today, your family, the entire family of the Vrishnis, will be destroyed by itself. The cousins will all fight and kill each other. The women of your house will weep, even as these women are weeping now. This is the curse of Gandhari." Krishna smiled his sweetest smile and said, "Mother, I know that I am the only person who is capable of destroying the entire house of the Vrishnis. They are indestructible. They can be destroyed only by themselves. Only a Vrishni can kill a Vrishni. No one else is capable of killing them. No god can hurt them. They have got to die at the hands of each other. I am glad your curse has solved the problem for me. I would have had to kill them if you had not cursed me. Mother, I am indeed fortunate to have had your cooperation in the extinction of the house of the Vrishnis. You have really blessed us. There is also this to be said. Your anger has now found an outlet. You can never more be angry with Yudhishthira. I am prepared to do anything for the Pandavas. If my house has to die so that they may leave, I am only too happy to oblige. I am telling you again, mother, the Pandavas mean my very life to me. The Pandavas had been listening to the curse of Gandhari. They had just passed through the dreadful experience of killing their cousins, and they were horrified to hear that the same fate was threatening the house of the Vrishnis. But Krishna was taking it all with a smile. He was doing it so that they could leave. The Pandavas felt humble in the presence of so much love. Krishna spoke his mind to Gandhari. He said, "Rouse up your spirit of dharma, mother. This sorrow is not good for you. This is because of you and not because of me. You were too fond of your son Duryodhana. His pride should have been curbed even at the outset. You knew your brother Shakuni. You should not have allowed him into your house. You were indifferent and not I. Duryodhana was encouraged to wallow in sin. All the elders in the court and you looked askance when he began to harass the Pandavas. You are responsible for all this, and your indifference is now being pushed on to my shoulders. You were there when I came to Hastinapura. You know how much I tried to coax Duryodhana to give up his hatred of the Pandavas. Yet you impute the sin of indifference to me. You have no right to do it. You knew about the house of lack. You could have taken some trouble and stopped your son from that sin. Your husband and you ruined that Duryodhana, and now, when the world is destroyed because of him, you are trying to blame it on me. You are fond of your son. That is clouding your vision. Dhritarashtra is to blame for this. And you, such a good and righteous woman, allowed this injustice to flourish under your eyes. It is not right that you should blame it on me. I am not sorry for the death of the Kauravas. They have got more than they deserved. Your son deserved the worst hell for his sinful actions, and he has managed to reach heaven. He has cheated the Pandavas even when he died. But I am glad about it in a way, since it will comfort you. They have gone to heaven because of your goodness and your penance. You must not mourn the death of your sons who are with the gods now. Throw away this grief, mother. I ask you most nobly, throw it away. Just now, when you saw the form of your son, you said, Duryodhana came to me just when he set out for the battle. He stood with folded palms before me and said, in this battle between cousins, you must wish me success. If you say it, I am sure to win. I knew that he had launched an unnatural war. I told him, my child, where dharma is there victory is. You are fighting an unjust war. You cannot win. But I bless you. I say that you will fight gloriously and reach the heavens. You cannot win, my son, but you will have a glorious death. You told me all this just now. You are not sorry when you said that to your child because you are such a righteous woman. And now, because of this sorrow, you are forgetting dharma and trying to blame it on me. I would not have been surprised if your husband had said it. But you, mother, you are different. You can face truth. Come, shake off this sorrow. Gandhari was speechless after this tirade from Krishna. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.